All right, this is Blake from DotsCast, and I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Bart from Hi-Rez.
Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about his game that he's very, very involved in. Would you like to give the.
Sure. So I work for a game called Smite. It's a 3D MOBA game made by Hi-Rez Studios out of Atlanta, Georgia. I am the esports manager for that game. Well, all of our games, but Smite being our primary focus right now. And I guess big news on that is we're having a $600,000 LAN event in January to celebrate the World Championships of the game.
So, how exactly did you get into the gaming industry at first?
My path in the gaming industry was kind of weird. I actually had a marketing degree and worked in marketing for a couple years. And then when Hi-Rez acquired the Tribes IP, I was a big Tribes player back in the day. I played competitively as a little kid, and sent them an email saying, "Hey, look, here's my skill set. I really love this game. Played it for a long time. I know everything there is to know about it. If you could use someone like me, let me know." I got an email back from Todd Harris, now the CEO, or was then and still is the COO of the company, saying, maybe my skill set was in like kind of Google Analytics and marketing analysis and that kind of stuff. And I kind of followed up on it and just kept at them. And eventually they brought me in for an interview and I got the job. And then I worked in marketing for about a year, maybe 6 months, and then kind of transitioned over to esports through Tribes. And that's kind of been the impetus for all of this now. Now it's a department in our studio, and I'm lucky enough to head it.
So, how does it feel going from that dynamic shift of just being just a gamer to being a big face on?
It was a pretty slow burn for me, right? I mean, I was at one point when I first started streaming for Hi-Rez, I was streaming 7 hours a day, like 50, 60 viewers. Obviously, we've grown quite a bit since then, but kind of the main thing that I wanted to kind of do, especially when I was starting out and being a representative for the company, what was important to me was like, look, I'm like one step removed from just being a just nerd, right? I mean, like I wasn't jaded by the video game industry. I'm still not, but it's like one of those things where I was like, look, I just want to be like, I'm just a normal guy. So, my kind of early cast definitely reflected that. And as the kind of esports thing has grown, separate from kind of just being a goofball, I've had to kind of button up the shirt a little bit on that end, but I still try to keep it pretty relaxed for, my casual stuff, just because that's what I would want to watch, right? I don't want to watch someone shilling out company lines. I would rather watch someone, saying fuck.
Yeah, understandable. So, where is y'all's vision with Smite going as of right now?
Smite now, I think the best way to summarize the vision for 2015, 2016 is kind of a worldwide presence with Tencent, the publisher for China, and now Brazil as well. They own the company Level Up that's publishing the game in Brazil, and now it's kind of like looking at the next markets, whether it's Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, those types of places, or Russia. I think kind of the worldwide reach of Smite is the next big step in kind of our vision for the next year.
The meta. Do you think that will shift away from what it is, or are y'all kind of just tweaking with that as
The
of right
meta
now?
of the game, from a competitive standpoint, we were pretty aggressive around changing things. Certainly earlier on, the lane changes, putting a short lane and a long lane in, some of the jungle changes. I would expect that, generally speaking, you want to just have a wide enough, or a width and kind of breadth of mechanics that allows people to kind of go and experiment with other things. In terms of the overall meta, Smite is a bit different than Dota, more like League of Legends in terms of how games or how characters are picked. Smite's more of a best in slot game than Dota, which is more of a team comp game. So I think that to really shift the meta, or if it's desirable to shift the meta, that the answer would be around maybe incentivizing making team comps. Having things like, you could do things like increase the armor on objectives so that you need anti-armor in the gods' kits to effectively kill them. Things like that, maybe. But I think, generally speaking, we're pretty comfortable with where the meta is. I don't know that it's going to be important to necessarily radically change the 2-1-1 jungle, although ideally it would be viable to run any comp, potentially, as a pocket strat against anybody. Right now, I think we're focused most on making sure that as many of the gods and the caster as viable as possible. And with the latest, big warrior nerfs that came out, I mean, we've seen a massive increase in the variety of gods that have been selected in competitive play. So we're pretty happy, I think, with just kind of the trend and trying to keep it kind of going in the same direction where the game just is more fun for more people and they get to see more variety.
So with things like move casting and stuff, y'all just recently released Janus, who actually can drop portals on the ground and players will actually drop off the map.
Sure.
Do you feel like y'all are gonna move that further and do more things with the environment in the
Oh,
game?
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of the advantage that we have, right? Is as a 3D MOBA, we can really play with the kind of Z aspect of the game that kind of first started with Thor, and we were like, oh, that's really awesome. And then kind of Apollo, which was Thor plus plus, basically flew up in the air and then flew around in the air. And then one of my personal favorites, Kumbhakarna's ultimate, the epic uppercut, where you really get displaced way up in the air. So doing that kind of stuff, and then Janus, we fall through the world and drop from the top. All those things, I think, really are kind of the wow factor for the game. Not only do they show very well on like a show floor and are a lot of fun, they also kind of give you those tinglies. It's like, oh, that's the new thing that I haven't seen before. So we have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff, and I think we'll get more and more sophisticated around the kind of different movement mechanics and different things that we can do because it's a 3D engine versus isometric.
And when y'all go into the community and stuff, and when y'all actually pull these ideas that y'all take and use, what exactly goes into the contemplation of that?
So I guess the question is kind of like, how does community feedback impact design?
Yeah.
The general thing around that is like, I don't know that so much we would go and say, excuse me, this, like take some guy's Quetzalcoatl, concept and say, okay, yeah, let's just implement that. I think a lot of it is like you look at the universe and the world of ideas that are out there and try to kind of just soak it all in and be a sponge. And then when we're talking about a specific god, whoever it may be, we can just pick anyone out of the hat. Let's say it was Zeus, right? We would say, okay, well, what were some like really cool ideas that people have? So we have these kind of just like ideas meetings, and a lot of times, just like anything, you just kind of regurgitate information that you think is cool. So I think that's kind of the main way we look at it. I don't know so much do we necessarily we look at, I'll put it to you, so we look at community feedback around design elements much heavier in kind of the balancing side of the game and in maybe map stuff and certainly bugs than we do for kind of concepting a god. A lot of times it's kind of usually the decision is like, okay, here's the next set of guys we want to do. And then the concept artists start kind of churning out different concepts for them. We'll select a concept that we like, and a lot of times we'll say, okay, well, this is a god of, I'm trying to think someone came out recently, let's say Chalk, right? He's the Mayan god of like rain and thunder, and okay, well, you get the concept, and he's this big, NFL-style dude with a giant axe and a shield. Then you start saying, okay, well, what should he do? And he's going to have this rain dance, and he's going to throw that axe, and he's going to be able to teleport to it. And, that's how you kind of start building the mechanics. It's a lot of times based on the concept and based on the lore of the god is really the main ways. And then, like I said, you just kind of try to absorb as much of all of the good ideas, wherever they come from, be it the community, be it, the QA testers, be it the interns. You say, okay, this is what we want to go, this is the direction we'll take. And that's really where the leads and design kind of come in, is filtering out and being the advocate for the player and saying what's going to be the most fun.
All right, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your game and find y'all at?
Sure. You can get the game at www.smitegame.com. This camera, that camera, I don't know. But whichever one it is, you can get the game at smitegame.com. You can see all the esports at esports.smitegame.com. Our Twitch channel is twitch.tv/smitegame. And myself, I'm on Twitter at Hi-Rez Bart. And thanks for your time, man.
All right, thank you.